Iga Swiatek arrives to the 2024 Roland Garros Championships as the massive favorite, winning two big clay lead-up tournaments in Madrid and Rome, only dropping 2 sets during that incredible 12-match stretch. Aryna Sabalenka, who fell to the pole in the finals of both those tournaments, says she wants a rematch of the finals here in Paris. But in addition to the Belarusian's tricky draw here at Roland Garros, she has other obstacles, including the likes of Elena Rybakina and Coco Gauff, who also look to add to their slam tally. Will the Big Four indeed continue their dominance at the big stages, or will we see another player rise from the ashes and add their name to slam history? Hey, I'm Christian Basnight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. Before I kind of get deep into the draw itself, I want to go over the projected quarterfinals matchups that we have here. First, Iga going up against Marketa Vondrousova, then Coco Gauff and Jabeur, Xinwen Zheng against 4th seed Elena Rybakina, and then number 6 Maria Sakkari against number 2 Aryna Sabalenka. Now, Iga will open her title defense against a qualifier or a lucky loser and is then projected to meet Lucia Bronzetti in round 2, Veronika Kudermetova in the third, Ekaterina Alexandrova in the fourth round, Marketa Vondrousova in the quarters, Coco Gauff in the semis, and Aryna Sabalenka in the championship. It's going to take a big ball striker to trouble Swiatek this tournament, and there are a few within this section, including Naomi Osaka, her potential second round opponent. Osaka faces 48th ranked Lucia Bronzetti in the first round, who is kind of solid on clay. I am putting Naomi as a dangerous floater here because her clay form looked very promising in Rome, where she knocked out 2 top 20 players en route to the round of 16. Of course, Iga is a whole different animal on the dirt, and while Naomi you think would have the game and firepower to trouble the Polish woman, the world number one's clay prowess would likely have her prevail there. Iga could face another big hitter then in Veronika Kudermetova, who did beat her late last year in Tokyo. However, the Russian is prone to early slam upsets and is honestly likely to fall, in my opinion, to Czech Maria Boskova in the opening round. Iga could then meet fellow Roland Garros champion Barbora Krejcikova in the fourth round, but I feel like that meeting is also kind of unlikely as the Czech has not won a match since February, some in part due to injury. I think if Barbora could get a couple of match wins under her belt, she could go on a little bit of a run here, although Russian Anastasia Potapova in round 2 could trip her up. Ekaterina Alexandrova could be a fourth round opponent for Iga, and she did beat the world number 1 in their last meeting in Miami earlier this year. However, the Russian, like Kudermetova, notoriously underperforms in slams and has only made it to the second week at a major one time in her career. I think it's honestly more likely that Iga would face a non-seeded opponent in the round of 16, possibly Potapova or Wang Qingyu, both of whom she should clear relatively easily in my opinion. I would say maybe Taylor Townsend could be in the fourth round, but Tate unfortunately suffered a nasty injury in Rabat and is kind of an unknown for this tournament. Naomi, for me, is probably Swiatek's biggest threat here in my opinion, but otherwise, I think this is a pretty favorable draw for Swiatek, and I expect her to get through to the quarterfinals without too much fanfare. 5th seed Marketa Vondrousova's section is next, and Jessica Pegula would have been there as number 5, but she pulled out just ahead of the draw being released due to an ongoing injury. At the top here, there's 11th seed Danielle Collins, who is literally the 4th best player in the world right now if we're going off the WTA race. The Dynamo has an interesting draw, potentially facing 2022 semifinalist Martina Trevisan in the second round, followed by possibly Marta Kostyuk, who has made strides this season, making the quarterfinals in Melbourne, semis in Indian Wells, and finals in Stuttgart. She did fall early in Rome and Madrid though, so it will be interesting to see how she regroups for Paris. Looking down, I have Diana Schneider as a dangerous floater there, as she has been in excellent form lately, recently winning the Paris 125 title, knocking out Emma Navarro in the final. I could see Princess Diana taking down Katerina Siniakova in round 2 and going on a good run here this tournament. At the bottom, there's 2019 finalist Marketa Vondrousova, who has a decent draw in my opinion, although I do think Schneider would be a big threat for her should they meet. Marketa has not done too much, to be honest, this year, but she does typically play well in the bigger tournaments, especially, on clay, so I could see her sneak her way into another slam deep run. However, I am going to go with Schneider actually instead to make the second week to face Danielle Collins. Collins has had an incredible clay swing, winning Charleston and making the semifinal of Rome, and she's currently playing the Strasbourg 500, where she still looks in good form, currently in the semifinals there. But I am worried though that she may pick up an injury with all the tennis she's played, God forbid. Still, I think that she's clearly the best player in this section, and I'll pick her to make the Elite 8. Next, third seed and 2022 finalist Coco Gauff will face either a qualifier or a lucky loser in the first round before potentially playing Alison van Oudtvanck in round 2, Diana Yastremska in the third round, Beatrice Haddad Maia in the fourth, Ons Jabeur in the quarterfinals, Iga in the semis, and Aryna in the final. I think Coco will honestly be very happy with her section here. She beat Yastremska already pretty handily in Madrid a couple weeks back, and I think the biggest threat here lies in last year's semifinalist Beatrice Haddad Maia, who has a solid shot at making the second week. Ludmila Samsonova is her projected third round opponent, and I also believe Samsonova is in the Strasbourg semifinals right now, but I anticipate Magna Linette actually taking her out in round 1, as the pole has been sneaky good on the dirt this year, and Samsonova, I don't know what it is about those certain group of Russians, but Samsonova also does not know how to go deep in a slam for some reason. Anyways, Amanda Anisimova is there too, who could definitely do a little something as well. I would like to see it. If Bia and Coco face off, I would favor Coco in that one. I think that Gauff showed great signs in Rome, making the semifinals there, and the ground game looked excellent, to be honest. I know the notorious forehand too was very solid. The only concern I have with Coco, honestly, is the serve, which hopefully the team will have sorted out a bit more by the time this tournament starts. At the top of Ons Jabeur's section is 2017 champion Elena Ostapenko, who has a very tough opener in Jacqueline Christian, who's been very solid on clay this year, severely testing the likes of Danielle Collins and Coco Gauff during the dirty double. And I'm honestly calling for the upset there, and I believe the Romanian will upset Ostapenko in the first round. Another slam champion, Sofia Kenin, is there, and the American could meet Caroline Garcia in round 2, who could technically make a move here, but to be honest, I'm not expecting a whole lot from the French woman. At the bottom, I think Jabeur has a solid draw, although Angelina Kalinina in round 2 is definitely a dangerous floater and could cause problems for her. Leylah Fernandez honestly has no business being a seed, and I wouldn't be too shocked if Shi Yu Wang sent her packing in round 2. This section can definitely go a lot of different ways, but I'm going to stick with the highest ranked Ons Jabeur here to come through. Ons has not had the best season by any means, and even though she fell to Kenin early in Rome, her Madrid form was very promising, and I feel like she can make a good run here. Transitioning to the bottom half, Xinwen Zheng will be playing Elisa Cornet in round 1, who will be retiring after this tournament. Finally, I'm going to come out and say I think that Xinwen will not make the second week. I say this because there are a few dangerous floaters in her little section, including Ashlyn Kruger, Elena Evanesian, and Anna Blinkova, and those last two made decent gains last year here in France as well. Sorana Cirstea is her projected third round opponent too, and the Romanian, while not playing her best tennis at the moment, is always a tough out in the majors. Zheng played better tennis in Rome, where she made the quarterfinals, which is promising for her hopes, but I just would not be surprised if she fell early. In the bottom part, Jasmine Paolini and Anna Kalinskaya are on course to give us a rematch of their epic Dubai final in the third round here. Anna, who is rumored to be dating Yannick Sinner, by the way, does have a tricky opening round opponent in Clara Burrell, who will have the home crowd support. And clay, too, is not Kalinskaya's best surface. Bianca Andreescu is a notable name there, as the Canadian makes her long-awaited return to Grand Slam action. And this is her first tournament actually since August, so I am not expecting too much from her. Overall, I think that Jasmine Paolini has the best shot of going deep, as I feel like she's overall the most solid player in this section, so she will be my pick. Number 4 seed Elena Rybakina will start against Greek Minin and could meet Arantxa Rus in round 2, Elisa Mertens in the third round, Elena Svitolina in the fourth, Xinwen in the quarters, Aryna in the semis, and Iga in the final. Rybakina has been playing solid on clay this season. She won Stuttgart and she made the semis of Madrid. Unfortunately, she was not able to attempt a title defense in Rome due to illness, so that's definitely something to keep an eye out for here. At the top, we have perhaps our biggest women's popcorn match between Elena Svitolina and Karolina Pliskova. Pliskova honestly just cannot catch a break in majors. She drew Elena Rybakina actually in the first round in Melbourne, and now Svitolina. Pliskova did go on that little streak during, I think February, where she won a small title in, I believe, France or something like that. No, Romania, before going deep in Doha, but she's been 1-4 since the Middle East, so Svitolina should honestly clear her. 2021 finalist Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova is her projected third round opponent, so that should be an exciting one should they play. Pavlyuchenkova, though, is low on confidence, and I anticipate Svitolina, who is in good form, to prevail. Rybakina honestly has a bit of a solid draw, to be honest. Angelique Kerber looms for her in round 2. which could be tricky because Kerber played very, very well in Rome and making the fourth round there, beating Kudermetova easily. And I think that honestly, she was the one who tested Swiatek the most that tournament. So that could definitely be one to watch for there. Elisa Mertens is Rybakina's third round opponent, and the Belgian knows how to raise her level for the slams too. This is a bit of a controversial take, but I kind of am not sure about Rybakina having her make it out of this section. I am worried about her health above all, but as well, we have to remember that she has not performed well at the slams recently, and she's only made the second week once at a major since making the finals of the Australian Open last year. I am going to go with Svitolina here to come through. I feel like, her form hasn't been the best, but I feel like she plays well in Paris, and I think she's just going to be the most reliable pick for me. Moving down, 60 Maria Sakkari is our penultimate section to observe, and I think she's also at risk of losing early. Sakkari has looked better since partnering with David Witt, but aside from her just being utterly horrible at the slams the past 2 years, not even making a second week since 2022, players like Linda Noskova are no easy customers. I actually am going to pick the Czech Noskova to send her packing in round 3 if Maria even makes it that far. In the bottom portion, Rome quarterfinalist Victoria Azarenka could face Mira Andreeva, who is like the 8th title favorite according to FanDuel odds makers, which is insane. Anyways, that would be a tough match. And then looking down is Daria Kasatkina, who has not honestly looked that great on the clay, although she typically plays well here in Paris. Peyton Stearns could be a challenge for Daria in round 2 as well. Any section where Maria Sakkari is the highest ranked player is honestly going to be hard to predict, and this is no exception. I think I'm going to go with the old reliable Kasatkina to progress just because, she is the steadiest. Vika tends to wobble at the majors, so I don't know about her, even though she probably is in the best form out of all the players here in this section at the moment. Last but not least, there is number 2 seed Aryna Sabalenka, who will start against the elder Andreeva's sister, Erica, before facing either a qualifier or lucky loser in the second round, and then potentially Katie Bolster in round 3, Madison Keys in the 4th, Sakkari in the quarters, Rybakina in the semis, and Swiatek in the final. This is honestly a pretty challenging draw for Big Lenka, not gonna lie. Madison Keys or Emma Navarro will be her biggest challenges there in the 4th round, and Emma actually beat her in Indian Wells a couple months back, although, Aryna was in her flop era back then, and she has gotten her act together nicely now, as I mentioned in the intro, making back-to-back finals in Madrid and Rome. Keys has been very good on the dirt too. She's made the semifinals in Madrid and quarters in Rome, being stopped by none other than Iga, and she's currently in the Strasbourg semifinals right now too, so she's playing great. Mayur Sharif could maybe be dangerous for Maddie. She's great on clay too, but I think that the Americans should still clear. Navarro is another threat for 14th seed Keys, but Emma needs to keep an eye out for her potential second round opponent, Anna Karolina Schmiedlova, who made the second week here in Paris last year. Yes, Aryna is projected to face Katie Bolter in the 3rd round, but the Brit, I still believe, is winless on the clay on the main tour, so I think this should likely fall to Paula Badosa in the 1st round, which is another big popcorn match. That little mini section is brutal there, as you have Badosa, Yulia Putintseva, and Sloane Stephens, who all have the potential to go deep. Sabalenka has made it to the semifinals or better in her last 6 slam semifinal appearances, plus she is in great form right now, but I am a bit worried, honestly, about her potential 3rd and 4th round opponents. That's where I think that we could see an upset with her. Not to mention too, she was dealing with some injury concerns in Rome, although I think that those problems should be behind her for the most part. I think if Madison and Aryna play in the 4th round, I might slightly favor the American, so I think that I will actually be picking Keys to reach the quarterfinal. Looking at my full predictions, I have Swiatek and then Gauff in the semifinals, alongside Paolini and Keys, and then in the final, I have Iga going against Jasmine, with Iga once again winning the title to win her 4th Roland Garros trophy. I think I'm the type of person, honestly, who's like very, contradictory, because I feel like if there's such a big favorite like Iga in this case to win the title, I automatically think it's not going to happen. All the things are falling in place where it wouldn't happen. But then I got to thinking, and not only has she been so dominant and has she been playing so well recently, but in 2022, she was the massive favorite there, and she handled the nerves tremendously. So I think that, it won't be too different here. Not to mention, I don't think that her draw is that challenging. I mentioned earlier, I honestly think Naomi Osaka in the 2nd round might be her biggest threat, and that's the early stages of a slam is where Iga might not be as sharp. But I don't know if Osaka has it in her. And I think that Coco Gauff could maybe shock us and possibly take down Iga. But, Rome match was promising, but with the current serve problems that she's been dealing with, I just think it'd still be an uphill battle. Sabalenka wants that rematch of Roland Garros final, but I don't know if Aryna will even make it to that stage with how tough her draw is. But I could once again see her surprise me, quote unquote surprise, because I wouldn't even be surprised if she made it out and went all the way. And then plus her draw can definitely open up as draws that slams typically do. Keys, she's playing very well, but she could easily be burned out and lose early. Same with maybe Navarro. So you never know. Still though, I think Maddie has been pretty underrated on the clay, and like I mentioned earlier, she's only suffered losses on the red stuff to Iga. So we don't know. She could really go very, very deep in this tournament. I do have Jasmine Paolini in the finals, and I initially was going to have Svitolina there instead, but I feel like I was giving Alina way too much, and Alina has never even made it to a slam final, so I think that would be a big ask a little bit. I predicted a Swiatek and Paolini final in Madrid, I believe, and that obviously didn't happen. And while the Italian has not done a whole lot this clay season, I truly believe that the Roland Garros draw will open up for her to do something. I was very much considering having Rybakina not only make the final, but win the whole title. And I wouldn't be surprised if she did, but once again, I'm not very confident in her health. One quick thing, I realized I didn't really explain why I didn't choose Danielle to beat Iga or go further in this tournament. Although Danielle did nearly beat Iga at the Australian Open, I think Iga would just be too on goal and on guard for when she would face Danielle in the quarterfinals. Also, that earlier aspect of Danielle possibly being too burnt out once it gets to the quarterfinal stage of Roland Garros. She's played a lot of tennis. She played Charleston. She played Madrid. She played Rome, now playing Strasbourg, and went deep in all four of those tournaments. So I feel like something's got to give, and that's my reason for not really having her go as deep. Now that's all I have for my Roland Garros preview and predictions, and let me know in the comments if you agree with me having Iga take it all, and even maybe agree with me having Paolini in the final, or if you disagree and believe someone like Aryna, Elena, Coco, or whoever else, Danielle, will make it instead and win the title. Make sure y'all subscribe and click the notification as well. Make sure y'all subscribe and click the notification bell too, so you're notified whenever I post updates throughout the tournament, and you're notified whenever I post my men's draw preview and prediction video as well. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'm Christian Bass Knight, and I'll see y'all next time here on Christian's Court. Au revoir.